the most important information you can get in the NFT space. What's going on, guys? Maddie here from DCL Blogger. In this video, I wanted to go through 5 NFT investor tips that you can utilize as NFT investors or NFT explorers, creators, people that want to engage with doing things in the NFT industry. Now, although these are tips that I apply to myself. So obviously no investment advice, but definitely wanted to cover some NFT tips that have helped me in my NFT investor journey that I've been in 3 years. 2018 Jan is when I think I bought my first virtual land. And now we are in 2021, mid 2021, very close to the 4th quarter of this year. So we are slowly approaching my 4th year, but definitely have done a lot of NFT investing. Let's get to it. All right. Tip number 1, NFT investor tip number 1 is NFT data websites, NFT tools, utilizing the right sort of information to make buyer decisions. Okay. Now it takes some time to figure out exactly what you'd like to get into. Like, for example, if you go to OpenSea, now OpenSea.io is kind of like the eBay of NFTs. You can buy and sell pretty much any NFT on the Ethereum blockchain so far. If you check OpenSea out, you can see there's literally so many categories right now: art, music, domain names, trading cards, collectibles, sports, utility, virtual worlds, all kinds of things. Each have their own metrics of statistics. Each have their own, communities, etc. But there are for each one of them, there's data tools that gives you insight into what's been going on. So, for example, you have rarity tools, and rarity tools shows you the up and coming avatar projects, which there are many of. You can see avatar projects were made famous with CryptoPunks that you can have 10,000 randomly generated, cats, dogs, bulls, God knows what these days, apes. But each of these are kind of bootstrapping communities. Now, if you look down here, it tells you the statistics. It tells you the volume over the last 7 days, how much people have purchased these in Ethereum, the sales over the last 7 days, the average price of them, the total supply, the owners, the owner distribution, which is extremely important. Owner distribution is so important, even though the volume is high. What is important is how many people actually own these. The more people that own them, the more people will talk about it, the higher the price will be, because there's less people selling them, right? So that is really, really important. What is, I guess, interesting to note is, again, there's many data websites about this, about the NFT industry, right? If you click on, what do you call it? Let's just click on Bored Apes. Then you can see Rarity Tools. What it does is it orders everything from 1 to 100 in terms of rarity. So it picks up all the traits. It gives these traits a rarity score, and then it ranks them in the top score all the way down to the bottom. And that's really, really important, because when you have your own, when you buy into these PFP projects, and then what you can do is you can go to My Wallet, and then My Wallet will explore what you have and it will rank them so you know how to price them. Now, this is the case for collectibles. Obviously, there's virtual land, there's art, and for art, there's different sort of data tools. So if you want to invest in NFT art, there's cryptoartpulse.com, which is my website. There's cryptoart.io. There's many websites that will give you information, but this one pretty much tracks all the recent sales in the NFT space, the art space. So you can go to show options and you can search the artist. So for example, if you want to search ferocious art, you can search FIVO, and it'll show you all the recent FIVO sales that have been happening. You can see this one's selling for 1,500. Let's just filter down to that specific one, and you can see all of these, but you can see it's slowly creeping up from a price of 2,100, 1,400. So it's pretty much the same over the last 30 days, but at the very least, you can see, you can spot trends, right? So if we go X copy this, let's put afterburn, And now you can see the recent Xcopy sales. You can see that recently it's gone to 4,000, 4,400, but pretty much a week or two ago it was around $2,000. So you can see increase in price. Therefore, it shows you the steady increase in price. There's an opportunity to buy something that over the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks continued to increase in price. And it's been around for a very long time. If you go to page number 27, you can see 4 months ago this first sold for $1,000. So the fact that it's still selling and appreciating price may indicate that it might continue to do so. So stats websites are absolutely imperative to investing in NFTs, and that's why I have on my Twitter DCL blogger. Make sure you follow me, but basically have done 10 different statistics websites from cryptoslam.io to OpenSea. There's cryptoart.io, there's Rarity Tools, there's CryptoArt Pulse, there's nonfungible.com, there's all these sales bots, there's all sorts of things, DApp Radar, Token Trove. And so, there's a bunch of different websites that you can start with this on this thread, DCL blogger. I will link it in the description below. So that is tip number 1, is just data websites. Now, tip number 2 is recent sales. Now, recent sales are important, pretty much similar to the first tip number 1, but this information is probably the most important information you can get in the NFT space. The most recent sales. So for example, what I mean by that, if you were to go to OpenSea and let's click on Curio Cards and let's click on so every project that you click on, you can do this thing where you can, on OpenSea, where you click into the project and you can go activity, then you can go sales, and then you can see all the recent sales that have happened. Now this is again so important, because just because things are listed, so for example, if you click on apples, and you can see the current price is 4.88, but it's listed, but its recent sale is 4 ETH. That means that you could probably negotiate the price down to 4 Ethereum or even less if you were to contact some people that have these cards. So the listed price doesn't really mean that's what it's going to sell for, but the sale history tells you what it does sell for. So these are events that have happened. And so that's why this is so important, in my opinion, making sure that you know where to find sales history for every single project, right? So for many projects, it's OpenSea. For some projects, it's even just for some projects, it's sales bots. So Twitter, there's some people that have made sales bots. There's the Axie bot that tells you sales over an Ethereum, sales over 3 ETH for Axies, land sales over 10 ETH. But it tells you every time a sales happen, 12 Ethereum for this Arctic plot. And as you keep being pinged and notified with these bots, you can kind of get an idea of why things sell for certain prices. So for example, this one sold for 13 Ethereum. You can see the land is connected to a road. This one sold for 12 Ethereum, so not 13 Ethereum, but it was not connected to the road, not connected to the Mystic, to this pink area, but it's in the middle, so it still is quite valuable, but it's not connected. If you go down, you can see this one sold for 13.8, possibly because it's connected to 2 roads. Now if you keep going down, let's see if there's a road we can find in the Arctics. This one sold for 15 ETH. This one sold for 13.4, again connected to the road, but you can over time, so this one is directly connected to this pink area, 17 ETH. And now you can be like, all right, well, if land is connected to the pink areas and they go for more. So you can do your research in this way as you are notified with sales. So sales history is point number 2, point number 1 being stats. Okay, community. Community is so important because it tells you who's involved. So when I say community, what am I talking about? There's Gary V here, and he's here for a reason, because let's just explore the CryptoPunk community, okay? So when you get involved into NFT projects, what's really important is not just the founders and the project and the concept. Say it's an idea of, all right, cool, so you can go into this project and you can, it's similar to Super Smash Brothers and it's going to be a fighting game. Okay, that's great. Who's making it? Is it someone notable? Is it someone with experience? Can you vouch for that person? Are they anonymous? Anonymous comes with a different risk. Are they a public personality? If so, what's their credibility like? What have they done in the past? Have they made games before? All these things come into play. But on top of that, also the communities. For example, who's involved in terms of the people that are participating, just like you, in this game or art thing or whatever, right? So for example, the CryptoPunks blew up. And now Gary Vee loves CryptoPunks, and he's got 3 million followers on Twitter, obviously millions of followers in the real world. He'll keep talking about CryptoPunks to the masses, and therefore he's a critical member in the CryptoPunk community. So if you have CryptoPunks, then suddenly you can kind of say, well, Gary Vee is into it. He'll probably push it along with other people. Now, it's not a good idea just to buy because certain people own it. But if Gary Vee owns it and other personalities own it, then you can kind of predict that if they keep pushing it, if they keep believing in it, building on it, then it will keep happening, right? So community is definitely important. Also, Discord is where people hang out. So you can see in Discord, in the Lava Labs Discord, everyone hangs out here in the general thread, so you can join and people talk about punks. Not only do they talk about punks, but they also talk about other up and coming projects. So you can hang around the Lava Labs project. The different community Discords based on the project will have different conversations. This one's not going to be quite game centric, but it's going to be quite collectible, OG centric about what's happening with the OG projects and also just generally what's happening in the NFT space. But it's a different crowd than say the new hot game coming out on the NFT space. So based on which project you want and which community you want, you can just search the Discord and join Decentraland about virtual land, virtual world, possibly VR, Somnium Space as well, CryptoVoxel. So these different communities will give you this different vibe and different information. All right, so that's point number 3. Point number 4 is gas fees. So when you're buying Ethereum, when you're buying NFTs, you have to pay gas. Okay, you can't avoid this, particularly on the Ethereum chain. On different chains like Binance, Polygon, which is a side chain to Ethereum, you've got Hive blockchain, you've got a few others where when you're buying NFTs, the gas fees is pretty much negligible. It's about a couple of cents. But when you're buying NFTs on Ethereum, it does matter. So Ethereum currently houses or sells possibly the most NFTs in the whole space. Much of the volume, if not all of the volume, or 90% of the volume, a big chunk of the volume happens on Ethereum. Ronin, I believe, is a side chain to Ethereum, so it's kind of similar thing, although you don't have to spend much money when on in Axie Infinity when engaging with Ronin. But apart from that, you can see everything, pretty much everything is on Ethereum, right? Everything is on Ethereum. Pretty much spare 2 to 3 other projects. So who knows, in the future, this might be much less got to do with Ethereum. But right now, we have to deal with gas fees. When you're buying things with gas fees, it's important to know a few points. It's important to know Ethereum fees at the time. So I've got an Ethereum fees Twitter account that I'm plugged into called Ether Fees. And this thing every hour gives me an update into what the fees are. So you can see here it's 40 Gwei. Gwei is basically the smallest unit of Ethereum. Ignore this $2.50 or $24. I think ours kind of falls, if you're buying NFTs, kind of falls in between the $8 and $24 mark. But you can kind of see at different times how these go up and down. So 5 hours ago, we had 44. Let's see if there was a crazy outlier day or hour, maybe when things went pretty crazy. Is there anything here? Here we go. So 120 Gwei at August 6th, $67. You have to pay in gas. So sometimes it's worth just waiting and trying to spot trends as to when gas is cheaper and then buying. Usually for my daytime in Melbourne, it's the night for much of the world, so trading activity is a little bit less, so I can get away with waiting for my daytime to purchase NFTs. But not just this, it's also important that when there's some big drops happening, that you know how to, I guess, pay higher gas fees and therefore get an item before someone else does. So if you are using MetaMask and you click buy, see, when you're buying NFTs and everyone else is buying NFTs, I usually don't do average, I go fast, right? So I click buy and then I go advanced and then I go fast. If not, I tweak it or I up the gas fees so that I can kind of get mine. See this one? So it says gas price in Gwei, gas limit. So I just up it to maybe 55 at the time for whatever it predicts, and therefore I can sometimes get it much earlier than other people. And that way, if there's some hype over a project, then you'll be able to get some. So that's a tip if you're buying, mess around with it a little bit. Again, it's a bit of a costly ordeal because you have to spend money, but I believe in the NFT space, you kind of have to spend money to make money. Negotiating is tip number 5, which basically means that just because something in a project, so for example, if you want to buy a decentraland land and you go over here and you sort by the cheapest, you can see the cheapest one is 4,750 mana. That doesn't mean that that is your only option because it's 4,750. Sometimes, in fact, many times, you can go into the Discord. You can go into the Discord of the project, in this case, Decentraland. You click on land channel. So this is the land trading channel. And you can see all the people selling, buying land, and just kind of putting out what they've got for sale. 2 times 1 Mario estate for 10,900 mana. So 11,000, which is 5,500 mana each. You can possibly message this person and say, hey man, look at this. Message Dan on Discord for a discount. So you can possibly buy it for cheaper. So if you message him and be like, hey man, the cheapest land right now is 4,700 mana. I would like to offer you 4,000 mana. Then he might say yes. If you do this with 5, 10 people that are trying to sell their land, 1 or 2 will hit, and you'll be able to get your NFT cheaper than the cheapest listed price. In this case, it's virtual land, but you obviously got CryptoPunks. You got many other projects. It usually doesn't work with art as well, but some projects it does work well. And this is how I bought much of my NFTs in the first 1 or 2 years. I was never buying off the marketplace. I was always buying, messaging someone and negotiating a better price. And that's how I could guarantee that every time I purchased something, I was pretty much winning straight away because I was buying it cheaper than the listed price. So at the very least, I could list it for the cheapest price and it would sell. Therefore, as soon as I buy, I knew I was kind of in profit. So negotiating is a big thing. It's what's going to allow you to get NFTs for a much cheaper price than what's listed. And I think it's very underutilized. A lot of people don't like negotiating, but I think it's just such a big edge to have in this space, especially if you're doing bigger purchases. So for example, if I'm buying, say, 100 virtual lands, decentralized lands, and someone wants to get rid of 100 of them, maybe I'll be able to be like, hey man, I'll buy them for 3,000 mana each. Because at the end of the day, I'm taking a very big risk spending 300,000 mana to buy these lands. Who knows, the market could tank and I'm stuck with these lands. So that's my discount to compensate for my risk. And for the other person, it's a big win because, hey, he can cash out at once off 300,000 mana instead of trying to sell them slowly on the marketplace. So it's a kind of a win-win. If you want to buy them cheaper and do a longer hold based on the person who's selling it to you, who obviously wants to cash out. So that's pretty much it, guys. But I wanted to add a tip number 6. Again, a bit underutilized, but get involved. So don't just buy something and just sit on it and tell your friends about it in real life. You can do so much more. So when I got involved in Decentraland, I made a blog. And it's called dclblogger.com. I made a blog. I made a brand. You can see here a DCL blogger. Right now I've got 63,000 Twitter followers, pretty much. But back when I started 2.5 years ago, May 2018, I had 0 followers, obviously, because it was the first time I did it. And I was just talking about Decentraland. I was just having some fun. I was discussing why I bought this parcel for 29,000 mana. Just land valuations, my thoughts on the land market. I was sharing all this information and I was helping provide value to the community. 10 tips on making money flipping virtual land in real estate. All these things I was kind of talking about. So for me, this was a big deal. Back then, it was small, but looking back now, it was such a big deal because it allowed me to build a Twitter brand. Talk about the projects that I was kind of buying and selling. So for example, here I bought this for 44,000. Wait, I think I bought it for 55,000 mana and I sold it for 99,000 mana. Made a 44,000 mana profit. I did a case study on how that happened, and I just shared this information because I wanted to. And so this helped me build my brand and help more eyeballs come to Decentraland. I've probably bought hundreds of artists and creators and investors and people interested in Decentraland and users into Decentraland through this blog. I could have just bought and just forgotten about it and done none of this, but I decided to do it because I don't like just investing in things and just chilling. I like to invest and get involved, so it kind of guarantees that my investment gets more eyeballs and I can help the project grow along with the founders, right? And imagine if not just me, but many other community members were making content about Decentraland and all this sort of stuff, which they are now, then you can imagine, the more community members that do this, the faster the project grows. So get involved. It's probably my biggest tip number 6. If you can do that, then you pretty much whatever you invest into will see a profit. All right, guys, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. 5 if not 6 tips on NFT investing. I will keep doing this sort of videos, but it's been fun, and I'll see you guys in another video. Take care.